Let's talk about Spurs, who lost 1-0 at West Ham. And again, you come up with a great question here. Is this a surprise?
I don't think it is anymore. I mean, they came back last year, didn't they, again, when they were 3-0 down West Ham, got that 3-3, won at 2-1 at home. And this year now, with everything that's going on, I don't see it as a surprise now. I think West Ham are up there, one of the big boys. They really are. They've got a fantastic manager who's proven it many, many times, in the Premier League, that is. Didn't really get... We talked about Manchester United, but there's no point going down that route any short time he had there. But I think at West Ham now, I think he has eventually got the respect of the West Ham fans. There's no doubt of that back whatsoever. They're playing good football. Yes, from set pieces, they're excellent. We know that. They scored a lot from set pieces. But it's not a surprise to me now. I think West Ham could be... They're in the same breath, in that same conversation as the other ones, the other big boys like Tottenham and supposedly Arsenal and, you know what I mean, and Everton. I think West Ham are well in there with those teams.
It's a great question as to where they might finish this season, because last season they kind of dipped out. I remember that season when Leicester won the title. I think they finished 4 points off a top 4 spot, West Ham, that year. They were brilliant. They were absolutely brilliant. Southampton were really good that year as well and just missed out. But West Ham, right at the end of that season under Slaven Bilic, had a few really dodgy results. Can't remember the sequence, but they kept dropping points where they should have been winning games. And had they picked up 4 points along the way, they'd have been in the top 4 and in the Champions League. And you're just thinking to yourself, well, could they actually? I mean, yes, they've lost games this season. They're going to lose games. But
well, everybody is at the minute.
They're playing some really good football. The key for them, when I compare them with Spurs, West Ham, and why you're right, it isn't really... We shouldn't really be surprised by West Ham.
Well, I'm not.
Spurs.
Where Spurs are at this moment in time, I'm not.
No.
New manager, not quite sure where they're going. What sort of players does he want in? What sort of football do they want to play? Nuno's still got a lot to prove. Wolves fans loved him for a while when he was there, but towards the end they couldn't wait to get him out.
The key is
interesting.
I think the key is with West Ham, every single player is buying into what the manager's doing. They really enjoy being
up for a fight,
being coached by the coaching
never
team
out of a
there
game.
with Paul Nevin and Stuart Pearce and Kevin Nolan. That they really seem to be enjoying everything that's going on. Whereas Spurs' best player by far doesn't want to play for the club. And if you see him defending the set piece from which West Ham scored the winner, he's like a statue. It's like they built a statue to Kane already.
Well, there's a few things. The Kane situation is obviously going to be talked about many, many times, and it's going to be talked again in the next window that opens. Dele Alli, he was in under Mourinho, then he was out under Mourinho, and many people couldn't understand. Nuno comes in, guess what? Puts Dele back in the side. Guess what? Dele's out of the side. So... It's a concern, isn't it? It really is. And the Kane situation... in the Premier League is obviously worrying because Spurs do rely on him to score goals.
But it's becoming one of those givens in football now, isn't it? A bit like, and we'll get on to Man United after 5 o'clock and Liverpool, Ollie's not elite level. We all know that now, but still the situation perpetuates itself. We all know Harry Kane does not want to be at Spurs. And while things aren't going particularly well, and while there isn't really a particularly good team around Harry Kane, then I don't think that situation is going to get any better. Yes, there might be the odd game. They'll probably, hit Norwich for 5 at some point in the season. He might get a hat-trick and everybody think, oh, Kane's back. The reality is, so far this season, and we're well into October, he hasn't looked the part for his club. And I personally don't blame him. He's been messed around all summer. He made it clear. He was very open and clear with everybody, including the fans and the club, what he wanted, and the club messed him around. All that story has been and gone. But he's finding it hard to be the player he used to be. And I look at West Ham, who I think are going to put bodies on the line, and it's hard to accuse Harry Kane of anything other than giving 100%, but he feels let down by the club, who are now asking him to give 100%. I mean, that's going to affect anybody, isn't it?
Of course, and I think with the summer and everything that happened, it's obviously affected him. There's no doubt about it whatsoever. You could see when it was England, he wasn't really in the game. For Tottenham, he keeps coming deeper and deeper. We've talked about the effects. Poch, Son's been brilliant for Tottenham for many years now. But Dele, when he played in that position under Poch originally, where he really excelled and scored all those goals and the assists for someone so young, making all those assists and getting goals, getting into goal-scoring positions. Then, when Son takes that position, which he did really, didn't he, alongside Kane, Dele was forfeited, really, if you look at his career since, and that's where he struggled to really shine, and he can't seem to get back on track. So a move for him at some point is going to happen. Kane, many of his own teammates thought it was the right thing that he was to leave. So they could reinvest, because that's the only time they are going to reinvest, if they get the money for Harry Kane.
Yep.
But they've gone down that same route again, relying on Kane to score the 20 goals a season. That puts Tottenham in a serious position. I think the only thing that keeps Tottenham in aid,
yep,
as well as West Ham, is when you look at the table and how tight it is on that 14-point mark, but you're one victory away, and the results go away, you're back in the Champions League places. It's very, very strange around there at the top of the moment.
They're not playing fluent football, but they're not playing convincing football at all. Clean sheets might be a little bit more tricky than they expected this season, and the goals from Harry Kane aren't there, and that's what's really kept them up there.
And that's the difference. When you talk about clean sheets, West Ham are keeping clean sheets, and when we talk about organisation and that's what I'm saying about a proper manager, David Moyes is organised them defensively. They have got a goal scorer at the minute, which is going their way because he's not picking up the injuries, who's putting the ball in the back of the net.
Yep.
And they've got serious fight. They never give in. This is a team who fight to the final whistle.
They are enjoying themselves.
Exactly.
Spurs are not enjoying themselves. And seriously, do you expect to get into the top four or win anything when your midfield two's Højbjerg and Skip? And I don't mean anything against them. These are good professional footballers and probably Premier League footballers. Are they elite at the top level as a partnership in that midfield? I'm not totally convinced.